Hey everyone, this is Pete, and it's been a while since we played any Atari Lynx games on the channel, so I thought it was high time we spent some time with them again. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dracula the Undead, a bold attempt to bring the adventure game genre to the platform. I say bold because adventure games tend to work best if you're able to actually save your game, and to my knowledge there's no Atari Lynx cartridges that actually support saving your game via means other than passwords. As such, Dracula the Undead is a pretty short game, though if you're playing via modern means such as emulation, or the Evercade Atari Lynx Collection 1 cartridge, which is what we'll be using today, you can of course use save states to make up for the lack of built-in in-game saving. Dracula the Undead was released in 1991 and is the work of Handmade Software, a company that put out several titles for the Lynx, including Awesome Golf, Power Factor, Malibu Bikini Volleyball and Jimmy Connor's Tennis. They also made the legendarily awful fighting game Kasumi Ninja for the Atari Jaguar, but we won't hold that against them, at least not for today. Despite the obvious flaw of no save games, Dracula the Undead reviewed well on its original release. Lawrence Neves, better known as GamePro's Scary Larry, rated it 4 out of 5 for its graphics and control scheme, and 5 out of 5 for its sound and fun factor, confidently declaring it the scariest RPG you'll ever play, despite it not being in any way an RPG. Robert A. Young, writing for IGN, gave the game 7 out of 10, noting that it was traditional adventuring fare with an unusual premise, giving particular praise to its sepia-toned visuals. Jim Douglas, writing in the UK's Games Master magazine, gave the game an impressive 90%, noting that it's true that converting a 19th century horror classic to the 2-inch square Lynx screen is a trifle ambitious, and no one was more surprised than me to discover that this is a fascinating and atmospheric game, loaded with innovative touches and splendid sepia-toned visuals. Although there are elements of Dracula the Undead that may look a bit laughable by modern standards, and indeed compared to greats of the adventure game genre, it is important to remember the context in which this came out, in 1991. The point-and-click adventure genre was still in its relative infancy at the time, with LucasArts and Sierra's genre-codifying classics The Secret of Monkey Island and King's Quest V respectively only having come out a year earlier, although earlier iterations of the genre did exist, such as Maniac Mansion. And at the time it was still regarded as extremely unusual to see a game with this level of depth on a handheld platform. Indeed, the Games Master review we just looked at specifically noted that you really honestly and genuinely will forget that you're playing on a handheld. Today, Dracula the Undead is a thoroughly interesting curiosity and still worth a play. So that's what we're going to do. Let's go play Dracula the Undead. Okay, here we are with Dracula the Undead, copyright Songbird 1991. Yes, Songbird owns the rights to this now, as with many other Atari Lynx titles. So you can actually still get a copy of this, I think, for Atari Lynx. The Evercade Atari Lynx collection is actually out of print now, sadly, but there are still copies out there if you know where to look, for a reasonable price, hopefully, as well. Usual disclaimer when I'm covering Evercade stuff. I am at the time recording an employee of Blaze Entertainment, but I'm making this because I want to, not because I'm being paid to, or because anyone has asked me to. I just felt like playing some Lynx stuff, so we're playing it, and the Evercade is the most convenient way of doing that. So, let us begin. So press the button to fade out the intro. Press A to move to the next line, B back to the start. Option 1, exit intro. Option 1 on the Evercade is the select button, by the way, if you were wondering. I am Bram Stoker, and by the magic of technology, I am able to narrate the story of Dracula to you. Your adventure will closely follow my original book, but in this version, you will be able to interact in a way never thought to be possible when I published Dracula in 1897. First, you will guide Jonathan Harker, a young solicitor. He has travelled to Transylvania from London. Yesterday, as he left the inn, the landlord's wife insisted that he accept and wear a crucifix. She had become concerned when she had learned that he was to visit Dracula. Last night was Walpurgis night, when the locals believe the dead rise and stalk the night. Jonathan was taken to Castle Dracula in a coach driven by a strange cloaked man. Arriving in the early hours of the morning, he had been shown to his room by the Count himself. Dracula had told him to get plenty of rest and to rise late the next day. Food would be ready in the dining room. Dracula would be away during the day. Dracula also said that Jonathan was free to explore where he wished, but that he should never try to enter any locked rooms. This was for Jonathan's own safety, since most of the castle is in ruins and is dangerous. It is late morning. Jonathan has awakened and dressed in the antechamber to his bedroom. After failing to find a mirror anywhere, he had used a small shaving mirror which he had brought with him. While shaving, Jonathan has cut his chin, and the wound is now marked by congealed blood. Jonathan seems to recall that there was something he must do before going down to the dining room, but he cannot quite remember what. Jonathan reminds himself that in the future he should make a note of anything interesting or important. Jonathan feels strange. It is as though he is not in complete control of his own actions. And that is because he isn't, because you're in control of him. Whee! There we go. So yes, in this game you have direct control over Jonathan. Probably closer to a Sierra adventure than anything. So you can move around. You can move in and out of the screen, and that uses the Lynx's sprite scaling to make Jonathan bigger or smaller as he walks in and out of the screen. And as you walk up to things, you'll see a sentence appear at the bottom of the screen according to the selected verb you've got there. And you can then press A to do that, so to actually perform that action, examine drawers, or you can press B to open this menu at the bottom, which allows you to choose between a variety of different verbs and also any relevant nouns. So that includes the thing you're standing in front of and any inventory items you've got. So we can say open drawers. My notebook is in here. So now we can say get notebook. Okay, I've got it. Examine drawers. Just a chest of drawers. So now we can close the drawers again if we want to. Okay, it's closed. And then press B to go back to direct control. So if we then say open the cupboard. Okay, it's open. Examine the cupboard. It's an old cupboard. Nothing much of note in there, I don't think. So let's have a look at this window. So we can choose examine window. It looks out onto the courtyard. Examine door. Nothing interesting about it. You get a fair bit of that in this game. There's a reasonable amount of descriptive text, but only really when stuff is directly relevant. So let's examine the table. Examine table. There's a tinderbox on the table. Get tinderbox. Okay, I've got it. Examine table. It's a table. It sure is, Jonathan. Thanks for that. Examine the bed. There's a crucifix on the bed. See, stuff isn't necessarily obvious in the graphical window, so it is always worth examining things if they come up as an interactable object. So if we say get crucifix, we can then say use crucifix. Okay, I feel safe now. That means he's now wearing the crucifix. That is the thing he was supposed to do that he couldn't remember. Now, if you look here, if you actually come into the foreground, it says window. You can't see the window because it's kind of behind the camera, but you can still look at the window. It leads to the south wall of the castle. It's closed. Open window. That's strange. It's locked from the outside. How very odd. Alright, I think that's everything we need to do here for now. I am going to save regularly as we play this. Like I say, the game itself doesn't have a save function, but when playing on Evercade, you can just use the save game function to save your progress at any point. There aren't that many points in this where you can die, but there are a few. And if you haven't saved, then yes, you do just have to go all the way back to the beginning again. And there's also a window here. Okay, it's open. So we can look at this window and open it. It's a fine window. Yes, good. I'm very glad we have this chat. So lurking in the background somewhere, there is the door to the hallway. Somewhere. Let's stick it on open. Open door. There we are. Okay, it's open. Excuse me. Come on, go through the door, you pillock. There we go. Right. So we're now on the upper floor of the castle. Let's examine this table. It's an empty table. So nothing particularly useful there. Nothing interesting about it. I mean, it's a door. What do you want, really? So we can't go any further up the corridor there. Anything in the foreground waiting for us? No. So let's head down the stairs. It's an old grandfather clock. The clock door is locked. Okay, it's open. So this is like a study, I think. The Count's study, but I think it's too dark to do anything in here at the moment. I know we can actually see on screen, but I think if we try and examine anything, it's too dark to see anything clearly. Okay, so we need a light source. Open this door. It won't open. So there are some doors in this that just won't open. You may also have noted during the intro sequence that Bram Stoker said that first you will control Jonathan Harker as if you control anyone else over the course of this. You do in fact just control Jonathan Harker in this. There are no other chapters. I do often wonder when I play this if there was going to be more of this at some point, because as it stands this only covers about 3 chapters of the complete Dracula story, and if we do get to the ending, which I hope we will today, if we do get to the ending, you will you will see it just sort of ends with a bit of a wet fart, but anyway, we'll come to that when we get to it. Alright, here is the dining room. There is Dracula standing in the foreground. Examine the table. There's some oil here. Get the oil. Now, you have to remember that Jonathan cut himself shaving, so you need to wear the crucifix before you interact with Dracula. Otherwise, he will eat you. It's Count Dracula. He's a tall, fearsome-looking man. So let's talk to Dracula. So we have a few choices of things to say. Good morning, Count. Good morning, Jonathan. I trust you slept well? Yes, thank you. You have a very impressive home, Count. Thank you. Please explore the castle. But do not try to enter any locked rooms. The castle is run down and can be very dangerous. But first, please enjoy your meal. I will not be joining you, as I ate earlier. Who's earlier? Hey! When shall we get down to our business? I will be away today on business of my own. I will return tonight. I'll eat my meal now. I'll eat my new meal now, even. It's a surprisingly hard thing to say. Dracula then left the room, and Jonathan was left wondering what might be his fate. So now we want to use the notebook. Jonathan makes a note of the conversation for future reference. Now, there are two endings to this game. To get the good one, you have to make sure you use the notebook after anything significant happens. So I'm going to try and remember to do that. But going on past experience, I will probably forget. But we'll see if we can try and remember all the things. It's the main dining table. Now, despite saying he's going to eat his meal, you do nothing of the sort. You just leave. And we head back to his room. Examine the picture. It's a picture of Vlad the Impaler, probably one of Dracula's ancestors. It's a fine window. It leads to the south wall of the castle. It's closed. Now we're supposed to look out there and see Dracula climbing across the wall. Okay, so look window and examine window are different things. So look is look out of the window, and examine is just give a description of it. Jonathan sees Dracula standing on a ledge across the wall. He is astonished to see Dracula crawl face down along the wall. So what we do now is we follow suit. We go climb window. I've seen Dracula out there. It must be possible. So you clamber out. And then shimmy your way along. This is basically a maze of invisible walls. So you have to climb along until you sort of bump into something like that and can't go any further. And then you see if you can keep shimmying your way along. And you want to try and get in the various windows. As Jonathan climbs in through the window, he breaks the lock from the outside. The window now opens and closes freely. So yeah, the window that we saw was locked from the outside area is no longer locked. I'd better open the window first. Did you not open it to climb in? Open window. Okay. Climb window. So we then continue to shimmy our way along. Okay, no means of getting past that way, so let's go back a bit and then along. There we go. We can't go in through that window, so we just keep working our way along. This looks like a bit that should be dangerous, but it really isn't. You can't fall off or anything like that. It's not Sierra hard. Let's put it that way. Right, then we can not climb in there. I thought we could. No, it's this big one we need to climb in. That's Dracula's bedroom, I believe. Yeah, here we go. Right, just going to save here quickly. Right, examine table. There's a lantern here. And some papers. As Jonathan looks amongst the papers lying on the desk, he finds a shipping note for 50 boxes of earth to be delivered to Whitby in England, and a list of addresses which includes the house at Carfax. Jonathan is surprised to find that the Count has also purchased a house on Union Street. Right, if you get a Bram Stoker cutscene, that's generally a signal that something important has happened, so you need to make a note of it. Jonathan makes note of the destination of the earth boxes and the name and address of another solicitor with whom Dracula has also been doing business. Examine table. There's a lantern here, and those papers I read before. Get lantern. Examine the desk. There's a drawer in the desk, and a map hung on the wall over it. Examine drawer. It's locked tight. This seems to be Dracula's study. Now we need to make a note of that map, I think. Jonathan makes a note in shorthand. No, if he makes a note in shorthand, that's not anything important. So there's a drawer in the desk and a map hung on the wall over it. Can we examine the map separately? No, we don't seem to be able to get any closer. We do need to make a note of that map, though, I think. So, use notebook. Ah, there we are. Jonathan makes a rough sketch of a map of the desk. He notes that there are 4 major locations, one of which he takes to be the Count's resting place. Open drawer. It's locked tight. Open door. Okay, it's open. It's too dark to see anything down there. Alright. Let's forget that for the minute. It won't open. Examine papers. Just a pile of papers. Evidently nothing important there. We can go off this way, I think. No? Okay. Alright, I think we need to use tinderbox. No, actually before that, use oil with lantern. Okay, the lamp's full now. And we then use tinderbox with lantern. And we also need to turn down the wick of the lantern to make us a bit less conspicuous. Here we are. Examine money. There are many coins and notes from many different countries. The Count must be quite a collector. Use notebook. No? Okay. This must be Dracula's money room. Yes, we all have a money room, don't we? Examine money. There are many coins and notes from many different countries. The Count must be quite a collector. We do have to make a note of something in here. I can't remember what it is. It's not just looking at the money. Is it getting the money? Okay, I've got some. There's a box hidden under this money. Jonathan makes a note in shorthand. Okay. Examine. Or get the box. Okay, I've got it. Examine box. There's something inside it. Well then, we know what to do with that. Open the box. There's a large iron key inside it. I'm sure there's something you make a note of in here. I'm just going to peep at a walkthrough and just make sure I haven't missed something. Dracula. Lynx. I am going to try and solve most of this from memory, but I would like to try and show you the good ending if I can, so I'm just going to make sure that I haven't done anything wrong. Okay, no, we don't need to use the notebook on anything in here. That's fine. I thought we did, but apparently not. Okay, I'm going to save though. And then open the door, but it's locked. I wonder if that key we got has anything to do with this door. Use iron key with door. How convenient. This then takes us down into the catacombs. So if we just do a general look, you are in the musty catacombs underneath Dracula's castle. There are a couple of things we need to find down here. See if I can remember where they are. There's one of them. Twine. Examine twine. It's a ball of twine. Get twine. Okay, I've got it. Examine rock. It's fresh blood. I should be careful where I go next. Don't think we need to make a note of that, but just in case. No, okay. Aha. Crowbar is obviously going to be useful. Okay, I've got it. Examine coffin. It's Dracula. He looks as though he is dead. Jonathan makes a quick map of the catacombs, noting the whereabouts of the Count's coffin. Now I don't think... No, I don't think we do anything else here for the minute. I think the twine and the crowbar is all we need to get for the minute, and we've made a note. Of where the Count's coffin is. Oh, if I made an error. I may have made an error. I thought this was where the oh, there's the exit. Good. Thought I was lost for a horrible moment. Right, back in the money room. Nothing else we can do here, I don't think. So we head back out. And we have to go back via the window because that door won't open. I'll just leave this lamp here. I hate doing this. Because Dracula has apparently jammed his own door shut. So we then just need to shimmy our way back to safety. Now, what is the route? There we go. No. We could have just gone back in through the bedroom, I'm sure, but doesn't matter. We have to do this a couple more times over the course of the complete game. What now? That's a good question. What do we do now? So we can't look in here yet because we don't have the light source. Because we need to get that out of Dracula's room. So Dracula is gone. Nothing left here. This door doesn't open, I don't think. The only other place we can go is the bedroom. It's my bed. It leads to the south wall of the castle. It's open. So what have we acquired? We got the twine. Got the iron key, box, coins, crucifix, tinderbox, notebook, crowbar, twine, iron key. Were we supposed to open the drawer in Dracula's room somehow? Okay, back we go. I swear, this bloody climbing sequence is 90% of the playtime of this game. But yeah, as silly as certain elements of this game can be, and as fairly lightweight and waffly as the writing can be in places, you can hopefully see that this was something that was noteworthy and different, particularly for a handheld platform in 1991. I mean, yes, the Game Boy had some substantial games, but for the most part, handhelds were associated with fairly quick, fairly disposable experiences. I mean, a lot of console games in general were at the time. They were still very arcade based. That doesn't work. Okay. Open drawer. It's Loctite. Can't use the crowbar on the door. Oh, I thought I could remember the like 5 steps it takes to finish this game. What do we do? We can't open that door. I don't think there's anything else here. For the minute. We do need to get the lantern out of that room somehow. But I don't think we can do that just yet. So yeah, as I was saying before, the adventure game genre was relatively rare to see on consoles. That's not to say there weren't examples of it. We talked briefly about the ICOM Simulations games, the Mac Ventures and the Atari Ventures, Deja Vu, Shadowgate, and Uninvited. Those all appeared on NES and later Game Boy Color. I'm not sure offhand when those versions came out, though. Certainly at the time this came out for Lynx, it was considered worthy of note to see a game of this type on a platform like the Lynx. Right, is there anything else we can do here? Can we go in here? It's jammed shut. Okay, he doesn't... But I might be able to pry it open. There we go. I was going to say, he didn't say it won't open. He's actually saying it specifically won't... It's specifically jammed shut. So, use crowbar on door. Okay, it's open. Just going to save here. Cutscene. Box. Jonathan begins to feel sleepy and doesn't know why and doesn't really care, so he lies down to sleep. It is the brides of Dracula. You take him, sister. No, he is yours. We insist you go first, sister. Then we will all enjoy those special kisses. Cease! I have warned you, he is mine. Now be gone! We must have our share. We must have his blood. No, he will be yours tomorrow. For now, take this. So, dear adventurers, you must help Jonathan escape before the brides return to claim their voluptuous kisses. It is the next day, and Jonathan awakens in his room, uncertain whether he dreamt the events of the previous night. Well, this seems like a noteworthy event, doesn't it? So let's make a note of it. Jonathan writes down all he recalls of the previous night. Even now, he cannot be sure if the events were real or dreamt. Anything left on the bed? It's my bed. And I'll cry if I want to. Examine table. It's a table. Thank you, Jonathan. Nothing interesting about it. Open the door. The door is locked. Oh no. What will we do? It's not like there's a convenient escape route just over here. Open window. It's already open. Didn't think of that, did you, Count? Huh? No. No, you did not. Now what? Left or right? Right. Oh no, I've made a mess. I just wish there was some sort of visual cue for this maze. But no, you've just got to do it entirely by whether or not you bounce off the next step you're trying to take. And you just have to visualize the route yourself. And like I say, the number of times you have to do this over the course of the complete game does start to feel a little bit like artificially padding the playtime by the end of it. But at least you can't fall off, and at least there's no enemies trying to knock you off or anything like that. Right. Let's get that lantern again. Here's tinderbox. Wait. Oh, did I not pick up the lantern? I thought I picked up the lantern. Get lantern. Okay, I've got it. Right. Use tinderbox with lantern. And again, turn... Oh, it was already turned down. Keep that turned down just to be a little bit discreet. Anything we can do with this desk this time? There's a drawer in the desk and a map hung on the wall over it. Yes, we know that. Open drawer. It's locked tight. Okay, so we can't get in there. Anything in his money room? Ooh, the money's gone. And there's a lever. Examine lever. There's a lever in the wall here. It must have been hidden by the coins before. Make a note? No. Use lever. It opens a secret door in the other wall. In which wall? Which wall exactly? I don't see the secret door you're referring to. Because that just goes to the catacombs. Which I don't think is where we want to go. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, that takes us to the library. That's convenient. Although, oddly... Oh no, there were stairs leading down from Dracula's room into the money room, weren't there? So, okay, that does make sense. I thought that made no physical... That wasn't physically possible for a minute. Examine books. A book about fishing. This could be useful. It might, I guess. You're the protagonist. You tell me. Use book? That doesn't work. Open. No. Turn book. I can't do that. Examine book. It's called Fishing Well. And it's written by J.R. Smartley. See? Clever. Excuse me. Use book? That doesn't work. It's called Fishing Well, and it's written by J.R. Smartley. I guess that's all we need to do with that. Can't open the book. Anything else in here? Doesn't seem to be. There's nothing interesting here. Okay, nothing else in here then, I guess? The door has been locked. Oh no. So we're going to have to go all the way back again, aren't we? All the way back across the wall. What is next? I think we can open that door. No. Nothing else on this table? They're just those papers I read before. I don't want to go back out onto that wall until I'm sure we've done everything in here. Let's just have another quick check in the catacombs. Go and check on Dracula. So I believe we go right once, then down once, and that is where we found the twine. And then we go right again. And then down once for the big rock. And again for the coffin. Examine coffin. There's a small brass key in here. Oh, I'm glad I did do that. Get brass key. Okay, I've got it. Alright. So up one. Up two. 3. And then left twice should get us back to the stairway. There it is. Right, I'm fairly confident that was it this time. I hate doing this. So do I, Jonathan. So do I. Right. Now, I believe we climb all the way to the left, and that will get us into the antechamber of our bedroom. Because we don't want to go in the bedroom, because the door for that is locked. But hopefully the antechamber will be open, and that will allow us to get out into the castle proper. Nope. Nope. Okay, fine. So close to freedom. So close to freedom. Right. And then, yep, he's just left the door open. I don't think we need to go back in that room where the brides were. And let's just have a quick check, just in case. Let's go. Oh, that. Examine. Nothing interesting about it. Nothing interesting about it. Nothing interesting about it. Can we open the box? It's already open. Okay. I guess. Nothing particularly useful here. No. Okay, fair enough. That's just a room where things happen. It is a room where cutscene happens. Alright, that brass key we got. Does that open this door? Okay, it doesn't say that's locked, so... It did say that the clock was locked, though, so maybe... Use brass key... The clock. Yes, that's what that's for. Open clock. There's a small key hidden inside. Get small key. Okay. The Count has entertained his gypsy helpers with tea before they left with the earth boxes, one of which contained the Count on his journey to England. You must help Jonathan escape the castle quickly before the 3 brides of Dracula claim him. That was a Bram Stoker cutscene, so we use the notebook. No, except that one's not important. Anything on the table this time? Examine table. There are some plates and cups left here. Probably left over from the gypsy's meal. There's a bowl of sugar as well. Get sugar. Okay, now what? Now what indeed? Open door? It won't open. I don't think there's any other doors in here, are there? Nothing interesting about it. If you say so. That's a clock. Nothing back there. This door leads to the study. But that's locked now, I think. Yeah. Where else is there to go then? Because I think we're about ready to escape now. I just don't remember where, where you go to escape. Don't think it's in here. Because, like I said, I just don't think there's anything useful in there at all, generally. There's some interactive objects, but they don't even have, like, descriptions attached to them or anything, so... Anything on that table this time? Nope. It looks out onto the courtyard. You go out through that window? It won't open. Of course not. I'm pretty sure we don't need to go back over the wall again. And I'm not going to unless we absolutely have to. That door's been locked. It's an old grandfather clock. There's some plates and cups left here. Probably left over from the gypsy's meal. Oh, please tell me we don't have to do the wall again. Oh, but I can't see. There's nowhere else to go here, so it's got to be something in Dracula's study. We haven't opened the drawer in his study yet. So maybe that small key we found in the clock is for the drawer in his study, maybe? Because I remember the way out of the castle, you end up... You go out via underground, I think. So you think you go out via the catacombs? I just can't remember the specifics of that sequence. But either way, if we want to get back to the catacombs, we've got to do this at least one more time. Right, let's see if we can open this with the key. Use the small key with the drawer. Yes, there it is. Okay. Open drawer. There are some fishing hooks in here. Get hook. And it seems like we probably want to use hook with twine. Okay, I've got a fishing line now. It's too dark to see anything down there. So we need our old friend the lantern again. You can tell this is an old school adventure by the presence of a lantern. Very much a mainstay of old text adventures in particular. And of course, source of the famous, "It is pitch dark. You are likely to be eaten by a grue." Oh. Is that the way out? Was it really that easy? Examine ladder. Nothing interesting about it. Okay, climb ladder. You probably want a sugar lump, don't you? Use sugar. That's better. He's calmed down now. Okay. No, I don't want to go back down there. Climb ladder. Examine well. It's boarded up and hasn't been used for a while. Ah, right. I remember now. So somewhere around here. Yes, there it is. Get spade. Use spade with well. That's got rid of the boards. And then we make a makeshift grappling hook. And then escape. Jonathan scrambles blindly along the narrow passage leading from the well. Emerging in the woods at the foot of the castle, he takes his chance and flees, with the cries of the wolves ringing ever louder in his ears. You have helped Jonathan escape the castle, but sadly there were one or two events which you failed to make a note of. This would later mean that Jonathan would fail to thwart the evil Dracula. What did I miss? What didn't I make a note of? I'm not standing for that. So, let's look through. So, Use the notebook after the meal. After climbing the walls. Oh, I might not have made a note of Dracula climbing the wall. And that's all the way back at the start. Anyway. I think we'll leave that there, because I'm sure you don't need to see me play that all again. But anyway, yes, if you do play this game, anytime you see something interesting happen, use the notebook. Otherwise, you'll get the bad ending like we did today. The good ending is not very different. It just says that Jonathan later managed to defeat Dracula. And then just finishes. So like I say, I do wonder if there was supposed to be more of this game at some point. Particularly because of the way Bram Stoker at the beginning says, first you will play as Jonathan Harker. As if sort of implying that later you will play as someone else. Maybe Mina Harker or something like that. Or Van Helsing even. But, you know, that is what it ended up being. And I do think it's an interesting game. I think it's not an amazing adventure game by the standards of other stuff, but I think it is noteworthy as an attempt to do something a bit different with a handheld console at a time. It was ambitious. It didn't quite work, but you've got to respect them for trying at least. You've got to respect them for trying at least. And it really hasn't been until sort of probably the last console generation where we've really started to see adventure games on consoles and handhelds. Because there were the odd examples like the aforementioned ICOM Simulations stuff on NES and Game Boy Color like I mentioned before. And things like Broken Sword and Discworld on PS1. But for the most part, the adventure game was very much a home computer thing for a long time. And so this was an attempt to prove that it could be done on something that wasn't a home computer, something that didn't have a floppy disk drive, that didn't have rewritable media. And in that respect, it works. Like I say, there's plenty of better adventures around, both from back in the day and more recent ones. But this is still worth a play, I think, just to see what they tried to do. Anyway, that was Dracula the Undead for Atari Lynx, played here on Evercade. Just remains me to say, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.